No.
I'm in an alternative universe in this moment. Like an out-of-body experience.
Okay, we don't have to make them wait anymore. The season of waiting is over.
Welcome to Liturgical Shenanigans, a Wayfolk Arts podcast, with your hosts, Hannah,
Phil?
Jackson.
And Maddie.
Hello, and welcome back to the Liturgical Shenanigans podcast, everyone. This week, we're going to be talking about Advent because it's almost Advent.
It's true.
Depending on what liturgical tradition you're part of, maybe Advent has already started.
Yeah.
We can talk more about that later. But anyways, to help us get into all of the things that we could talk about for Advent, we are going to have Jackson read a thing that he wrote last year.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Because,
What did I forget?
no, they need to wait.
We need
Oh,
We're at the
Because we haven't
Advent of
talked about what
Advent.
Advent means yet. Advent is
of course.
the season when there's a bunch of advertisements for things like
Vents.
Black Friday, and they come through like in Harry Potter with the letters. The ads are coming through the vents. It's Advent.
Okay.
I feel like
No.
I'm in an alternative universe in this moment. Like an out-of-body experience.
Okay, we don't have to make them wait anymore. The season of waiting is over.
I hated this.
So we're gonna be. I'm gonna try to bring it around. We're gonna be talking about Advent today, the season of waiting leading up to Christmas. I think we're probably gonna get into some things around like why it's important to observe this season. Some of the same energy. I don't know. I feel some similar energy between Advent and Lent, and just the sort of practice of looking forward to, even in the midst of it not being here. So.
Observing it is advantageous.
And Phil will keep spitting out these.
Advent puns. Get ready.
puns.
It's not going to stop.
You're used to it by now.
Oh.
But to start with, I'm just going to read you a short piece that I wrote last year for Advent. You can find this piece on our Wayfolk Arts Instagram page if you want to give us a follow over there. But also I invite you to use this if you would like to use it. It's just out there on the Instagram. So feel free. This is my permission to you. But for now, I'm going to read it to you. We wait for you in deep darkness, holding doubt in the slivered candlelight of hope. We long for your light to shine within and without us, amongst the ordinary and the special which surrounds our daily lives. We sit in the shadows of anticipation, unafraid, for we know you sit here with us. We await the promise of a cry, shattering the stillness of night, the joy which grips the heel of pain. We await hope.
Jackson, I have beef with one of those lines.
Nice. Let's go.
No, it's not really beef.
Okay.
But I like it. But the line, we await unafraid, for we know you wait with us. I think I actually wait afraid, but still know God waits with me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess it's not beef. It's just another thought,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
another beat to the waiting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think certainly like waiting in fear is that makes a ton of sense. I think I would probably approach it from the stance of like calling into existence the same language that blessing takes, the may we be unafraid.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't think that needs to necessitate that we're not afraid. I think
Well, and I
you're
wonder
right there.
if some of that is how if we experience waiting differently. Because I hate, I'd rather not wait. Why wait when I could just do and just be? I want to skip all the in-between steps for everything always. And the anticipation is is horrible for me. I'm usually, it's like the part of a roller coaster that scares me the most is not the roller coaster itself. It's the going up,
Right.
and also waiting in the line. That is the worst part of the whole thing for me. But I love the ride itself. I have so much fun once it actually begins and we do it. That anticipation piece is just, I'm filled with fear. And I don't know, do I want to may we away the fear? Because I don't know that it actually changes anything in the end.
Yeah.
Well, then, I mean, in that case, why wouldn't you, right? Like, if waiting with fear versus waiting without fear, everything is the same in the end. Why would you want to wait with fear?
Because I can't be brave then.
Oh, I see. It's interesting. I experience those two kinds of waiting as totally different things. It's like when we use love to mean different things, you know, but there's different kinds of waiting. Like there's happy anticipation, like excitement, like the movie's going to start soon, you know? And then there's the solo's about to start and I'm going to sing it. There's like
You black out.
which could be really good, but sometimes it's not because you didn't practice enough or something, or enough to feel confident.
Yeah.
And there's just there's like dread waiting and there's excited waiting. And
I don't think I have any excited waiting.
really?
I mean, it's not that what I'm in the end I'm not excited about, but the experience of waiting is, it doesn't matter how many times I've practiced, it's still horrifying before
What if it's
the
like
solo.
the day or two before Halloween decorations start going up in the stores? Do you get excited?
No, I simply allow Halloween to occur when I've decided it's time.
What about like when you're cooking something really yummy and it smells really good and you're excited to eat it?
No,
Wow.
I don't think so. I just eat it then.
What about when you're on your way to have lunch with
You're
me?
not going to find one.
Oh.
I'm probably anxious about the fact that you're only eating lunch with me because I made you.
That's so interesting.
I don't, the waiting is I'd really rather it not be a thing. I'd rather just do
That's
the
interesting.
thing. Well, I mean, I like to sit in despair, but that doesn't feel like, it's anticipation that I don't like. It doesn't matter how great the end thing is going to be. No thank you.
It makes me wonder about trauma stuff and safety and predictability and known knowns and not unknowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That probably is. what
Thinking
it is.
about how Advent would be experienced from a standpoint of a traumatized people is interesting. You know, that Advent is the season of waiting, and we're often reflecting on the time before the promises of the Messiah are fulfilled, and it's the story of centuries of oppression. Yeah.
Well, and what if we've like anticipated this thing and it's disappointing when it comes? Like Christmas Day is always disappointing. Like you wait and you wait and you wait for Christmas morning, and it's all right. I'm getting looks. Apparently not the same for everybody.
Do you know
I
why?
think
Because Maddie comes to
disappointing.
our house for Christmas morning.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All right. Someone else talk.
No, I do want to know more about that. Is that part of what's the why we don't anticipate with excitement is because of the vulnerability.
You know, I literally said I have a goal of speaking less this episode. Maybe it is vulnerable, yes.
Well, right? Does anyone resonate with that? Vulnerability, excitement, anticipation, waiting unafraid, as like, but if I do that and the thing comes and it lets me down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually more afraid of the thing arriving. I'm perfectly comfortable to sit in the longing forever.
Yes, Abe.
But yeah, the thing arriving is the scary part. But Advent, which might be why Advent is one of my favorite liturgical seasons, because it's one of the times where we are invited to notice the things that we're waiting for. I think both, we wait for Christ to come again and restore all of creation, and bring new life and justice and hope from all of the pain or sorrow or any of the difficult things in life that we're currently experiencing. But also, I think Advent is a time, like, I just don't experience any other time during the year where I sit and go, okay, what are the things that I'm in a waiting period for, where maybe I have to learn to practice patience, and what does my waiting look like, whether I feel afraid of the thing coming or not. How do I wait well? Do I mope and get stuck? Sometimes, yes. Do I do and do and do in hopes that the thing will come faster? Do I trust that the thing will come when it needs to come? There's so many different postures that you can take. And I think some of them happen simultaneously in a different person, depending on the day or the season or the particular thing that you're waiting for. But I think Advent is the time for me when I get to slow down enough so that I notice what posture am I taking as I'm waiting. And I have, in that slowness, I am offered this moment of choice. I can choose to wait a different way because I slowed down enough to notice how I was already waiting for whatever the thing might be. It's kind of a moment to both turn outward and inward. It just feels so soft and so holy to me in a way that could hold an abundance of different emotions, where like I feel like Lent, like the preparation you do in Lent is so much confession, where I feel like that it's harder for there to be a multiplicity of emotions in that season. But Advent feels like so many things could be there. And could be excitement, could be fear, could be frustration, could be disappointment, could be joy. And it's just such a unique season, and I love it so much. And like, I feel like we live on the side of the planet where like it gets darker during this season, so it almost encourages even more that sort of soft turning inward to sit with yourself and examine yourself and how you're showing up to your waiting. I feel like cold does that for me too. So like, that's why I've always said that like I need to live somewhere that has a dark and cold winter. That's one of the reasons I chose where I went to college, was because there was a winter. But yeah, I don't know. Advent is just my favorite.
That was really lovely. You've painted like a really beautiful picture of what Advent is, and there is no wonder I hate it.
Nah.
Ooh, interesting. Why?
I hate slowing down. I have no interest in being present to myself. Slowing down is terrifying for me. So that makes a lot of sense why I'm not a big fan. I like Advent liturgy. Like, I like what you just read, Jackson. I like the act of lighting candles together. I like the intentionality of Advent in the same way I like the intentionality of Lent. But I think for me, the times in my life when I've been in a deep waiting period, they have been so painful that any invitation to do extra waiting is not something that I am interested in leaning into. Because there has been so much painful waiting in my life. And I think Advent seasons, for even some of the dark wintry reasons you named, Hannah, as lovely, are hard. The sun going down. I like darkness, and seasonal affective stuff is real.
For sure.
I don't like that when I drive home, it's already midnight, basically. I don't like that when I wake, it's also still midnight.
Yeah, same.
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
I think I have a love-hate relationship with it too, because I love the idea of it, but it makes me so much more tired, and just sad. And I would prefer to not slow down enough to acknowledge the feelings of the season. And I think too, for those of us who do get quite a bit sadder or more down during this season, it's a hard season to be experiencing that, because everybody's like, fa la 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 la, freaking holidays are here, and they're throwing Christmas in my face before Halloween has already even ended. We're very, very much invited to lean into joy, and I don't really want to do that either. So I just think I resist the whole thing. Yeah.
As you were describing, my take on what came up in me and yours, Hannah, was the connection to longing, and all of our fun nonviolent communication stuff, and not reframing, but framing, I guess, the idea of Advent as a season of, when we do these processes, part of the nonviolent communication exercise, we're looking at our thoughts and feelings, and we're paying attention to those in order to get to what are these unmet needs that we have in us, the universal needs like respect and connection and love and all these things. And then part of the process of self-compassion is you figure out what this need is, and you sit and you cherish that unmet longing, that unmet need. Like, what I really want right now is just to be seen, maybe. And Advent is a season of pausing enough to notice the longings that are still there and hold them as holy and sacred. And I don't know if it's so much like naming a new longing or I'm wondering if this has any different kind of appeal, Maddie, but like probably not, but not finding a new thing that's painful or whatever, but noticing the ones that don't bubble up to the surface all the time, but taking a moment to notice these are the things we long for, and what does it feel like to long for justice in my body? What does it feel like to long for?
It feels bad.
But it's always there.
Correct.
It's not like you're adding
and
it.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I would prefer to simply not.
And I think about like Christmassy songs, Christmas season songs, maybe Advent season songs that are about that longing are the ones I think I connect with the most. Like, terrible examples are coming to mind, but whatever. Like the "I'll be home for Christmas" feeling, and it's kind of minery and melancholy and this desire that's not yet. Or like when I get irritated by the one song, "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," and then sometimes they sing, it's the "We'll Always Be Together," and it's like the "In a Year" or something like that. And it's like, but we're supposed to do that now. But it's that forward-looking, sort of sad, but hopeful, but sad.
Again, I think that's beautiful. That
I love longing.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful that other people can experience it that way. I just cannot. Hannah, when you were naming all of the things that when you're curious about what you might do with your longing, you talked about, am I doing? Am I a doer? And I think I'm definitely a doer. So even if I'm, let's say, Phil, I'm leaning into my longing for justice in my body. It's going to motivate me to aggressive and rage-filled action because I will simply will it into existence. So I don't, the pause long enough to actually long is rare. And not, if I do pause long enough to long, it wasn't a choice I made. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Jackson? You wrote the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you experience Advent?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take it in the direction of just how I experience it. I don't think I think I want to honor what you've said already, Maddie, and I'm not going to offer a different way to experience it than that.
Great.
like,
Thank you.
I think that's a really valid way to approach it. I'll just share what I tend to approach it as, and kind of talk about it in two different tiers of. I resonate quite a bit with what you said, Hannah, around like waiting and having a season to practice waiting. I really like spiritual practices in general. I like it, when I think some of the stuff you said, Phil, around like it's always there. For me, if something is always there, I want to have a relationship with it. And so Advent for me is a chance to practice having a relationship with it. And if waiting is constantly a thing that I experience, I think a thing that all humans experience to some degree. We all go through seasons of waiting for one thing or another. And so having a season particularly to engage it in practice is really welcome. And then to draw it kind of specifically into Christian practice as well. Within the Christian practice, we've been waiting for the return of Jesus for a very long time, far past when
What was predicted.
Paul was predicting. So it's also an important season for that purpose because we are always in a season of waiting, not just for the return of Christ, but also for justice, also for peace, also for the restoration of creation, also for right relationship with neighbor. So it does no good for me to not pay attention to it. Like if I skip straight to Christmas, if I skip straight to Nativity, I'm jumping past the problem that is afoot, which is we are still waiting. And I'm not cultivating in myself an ability to exist as a human in that waiting. That's when I am blindsided, I guess, is when I have not cultivated a practice around it. When I show up to something and I find, I haven't, and this is just the way that I experience things because I locked away this part of myself and I can't function in this now that I'm here. So I appreciate the invitation in Advent to be like, let me feel this so that I know how it feels. Let me feel this within a liturgical practice or a something familiar, something rote, so that when the time comes for me to engage justice work or peace work or reconciliation work or justice for creation, I have this connection to my faith that's a part of it as well.
Yeah, that feels really resonant to me. There's a lot of conversations I've been having with some of the folks I work with in ministry stuff, and this what they describe as a polarity between Christian action and spiritual formation. I don't know if I have the words they use right, but this kind of back and forth that's really sort of important as far as like the connection to truth or to the why, right? Like to what we are longing for in the world, to who we are called to be, to the love that makes us who we are, and then the world and those needs and the opportunity to engage them. And that some churches or some people or some whatever, it's easy to get stuck in one and not really be doing the other, and kind of they feed one another when we're going back and forth in some way between our spiritual practices and connection, like these liturgies give us the opportunity to do, and then what they make us hungry for, or what they acknowledge our hunger for, or help us be aware of our hunger for, to go out and do. And I love that what you're bringing up there.
I want to go back, or something that stuck out to me in what you were saying, Jackson, was if you skip to Christmas, you skip over the problem, I think is the word that you used. And that feels important to me because Christmas, the coming of Christ incarnate, is supposed to be good news. But if you don't take time to notice the problem, Christ can't be good news.
Yeah.
You have to take time to notice the reason it's necessary for Christ to come in the first place. And so to be able to hold both the problem, the longing, with the hope and joy. Those two things together make each other more poignant, sweeter, more sharper. I can't think of the right word, but like they sort of intensify and feed off of each other, and neither one is complete without the other. Like it's not a full story if you don't have both of those things. And if you skip over Advent, Christmas is so much less without it.
It's what's the story structure? Exposition, rising conflict,
Rising action and
rising action,
Yeah.
climax,
it does make
resolution.
yeah.
Is exposition part of that?
Exposition's a
It's
tool.
the very beginning of it.
Yeah, okay, I was right. I did right.
Sure.
Inciting incident starts it, but yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
It's been a while.
But yeah, that's what good storytelling is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't just have resolution at the end.
Well, and I like, this is interesting. I like thinking of Advent that way, of pointing out and noticing the problem. I love doing that. But then let's do something.
I have one more question to understand Maddie better. Know how it relates to horror.
Oh, I love horror.
Right. Like there's a lot of anticipation
Yeah, I
in
don't.
a lot of horror movies,
I don't
right?
like that part of horror.
Like, but that's most of the movie, isn't it? Like the
No.
thing's gonna happen or the thing is coming, like the fear.
Well, so jump scare horror is actually not interesting to me.
Yeah, same.
So I would say that that's true of jump scare horror. Yeah, because you're anticipating like
Oh,
when
like
they
an
open
immediate-
the fridge
yeah.
and then they close it, something's gonna be there, and you know, and I will watch that, but
Sure.
but I have a much different body experience with those movies than I do of the horror that has. Am I saying it right this time?
You are,
See,
yeah.
look, everyone, I'm learning. If you know, you know. That I have when I'm watching like thematic pieces, so ones that are about profound grief or ones that tell a very specific kind of story that isn't just jump scare.
Right. But even that, is there not like a sense of dread or something in those?
A sense of dread does not feel the same to me. Like impending doom is different than anticipation
Oh, that's interesting.
Of something joyful or of something good.
of anything.
Of anything,
Anticipation
okay.
of anything just feels, I assume it's going. Well, and I think earlier when you talked about trauma, that I think it is easier to lean into impending doom than it is.
'Cause you
maybe that
kinda
is
know what it is and you can prep
because I
yourself.
know it's going to be bad,
Yeah.
and therefore it won't disappoint me.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that is why.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's
With-
more predictable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And safer in that sense, which is strange,
Yeah,
right?
that's probably true. And I have a underlying sense of impending doom always. It's gotten louder as a mom. But yeah, I think impending doom is just different for me.
Yeah, I think
Or imminent doom.
yeah. One of the things you said in there, like with hope or anticipation, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know if like when the thing actually comes, it's going to be what you imagined, or if it's going to be different, or if it's going to all fall to pieces, or like there's just so many unknowns.
Yeah.
All you can do is hold what you hope for. And but also hold it gently, not necessarily ready to like drop it all, but like to say I'm okay if this looks different than I thought it was going to, is so hard and so painful if that's what you end up needing to do. But we always, there will come a time in your life where something you were waiting for doesn't turn out the way that you were hoping. So this feels like the season to practice holding hope with like confidence and eagerness still, but also sort of this willingness to let whatever come, and we will greet it when it does.
I think holding hope is probably one of the bravest things you can do. And we've dedicated whole podcast episodes to me talking about this before, but infertility was probably one of the longest seasons of constant holding hope in tension with also holding grief that I've experienced. About the same thing. I've experienced long seasons of, you know what I mean, though. It was all in the same theme. And my body was so physically exhausted by the end. Not that there ever really was an end, but you know what I mean? By the time I was done leaning into infertility, because I eventually had my child, I was so tired. I felt like a battered... I'd never been a battered soldier, so I guess I can't say that. But that's how that's what my brain thinks it is. It was exhausting. So I think also I just don't have any interest in experiencing that ever again. And I really commend people who are able to intentionally lean into that posture. I think this is going to come out more judgmentally and harsher than I mean it to, so I'll just name that. But I do think there is a privilege in being able to intentionally lean into that season willingly.
I don't think that sounds harsh, though.
Well, but I don't mean it as like you're so privileged for enjoying the season of Lent. It's not what I mean. I think it's lovely that people do. I think that I love the Lent. Advent is what we're in.
Yeah,
Sorry. Purple colors are the same. I actually love Lent. That's kind of funny. But I think it's lovely that everything everyone has said is lovely. And the idea of it is beautiful. And like I said, the actions, when I get asked to light candles for Advent in churches that I've been a part of, it's so meaningful to me. And I love it. But
well, it makes sense to me. Right before we started recording, I was Googling something and came across an article that was talking about how, maybe don't scold the people who are ready to skip over Advent. And the idea that some of us humans are waiting all the time and don't get a break from that. Yeah. And so it doesn't feel like something we need to do. And I think that's one of the cool things about the different seasons is some of us are going to be challenged more by... but I don't mean challenged in the sense you're talking about, Maddie. I'm talking about like, it's not what we do every day. And so like, if I'm celebrating every day and comfortable every day, then a season of discomfort is probably really great for me. And I was thinking about what you're saying about the holding hope as a scary thing. In my 9-ness, it's like, well, no, because I don't really hope for anything. So, so it's not scary at all.
Right.
And that's the challenge for me is like that. What if I actually take the time to pause, find what do you long for?
Yeah.
What about the world isn't ready yet? And spend time connecting with that longing so that I'm not just going through the motions of life. I care.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And caring sucks.
Yeah.
Ugh. I have to imagine we're nearing the end of our time.
We are coming down to the end of the time for this particular podcast.
Before we end... I know we have a couple reminders and things we want to do, but Jackson, would you read it again? I would just like to sit with it again before we're done. I feel like I'm in a different posture now than when we started.
I agree.
Sure.
And I wonder, are there things that or that you would like to invite people to do as they ready themselves See what I did there? To receive it again.
I think I invite you to... It's interesting, given the conversation we've had. It's hard to think of one thing to invite you towards. So instead, I'll invite you to centering. I invite you to take a moment, take a deep breath, feel the rhythm of your heart and your lungs, your connection to the earth, and listen to these words. We wait for you in deep darkness, holding doubt in the slivered candlelight of hope. We long for your light to shine within and without us, amongst the ordinary and the special which surrounds our daily lives. We sit in the shadows of anticipation, unafraid, for we know you sit here with us. We await the promise of a cry, shattering the stillness of night, the joy which grips the heel of pain. We await hope.
I love that actually the end of that, you don't resolve.
No.
You don't have hope yet.
Yeah.
We're waiting for hope.
I heard that way differently post our conversation.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
did too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackson.
I feel like I just want to compliment the heel grabbing. I thought that last time too.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I love that image of jerk face Jacob as joy. It's beautiful.
Well, friends, happy Advent. Before Jackson needs to give us reminders, but happy or boo Advent.
A blessed Advent.
Yeah, whatever you need Advent to be or not to be, may it.
Because maybe you need to be angry.
That will
about
be the
Advent.
question.
Maybe you know what? We should make a channel on our Discord
Yeah.
where people can be angry. So what we're gonna do
I
is
love that.
we're gonna add vent sections.
Okay, we're done.
There it is.
Speaking of our
there we
Discord,
came
did
back
you
around.
know,
Promised
Liturgical Shenanigans family, that we have a Discord chat and you can do things like tell Phil to knock it off with his jokes or perhaps join in. We have different channels for different things, like giving us feedback on the podcast, like discussing lament, like sharing things that you've created. Some of us don't understand how Discord works, and there is room for that to be the case as well.
We also have all the social medias. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We've pretty much abandoned our X, but we do still have an account there. But we also have a Patreon where we're going to have a after show here in just a couple of minutes. Well, for you, it'll be next week.
Sounds like we dumped somebody. We've abandoned our ex.
It does kind of sound that way. Another reason why it shouldn't be called X. But back to Patreon, we're going to be talking more in the after show, probably around some Advent rituals, but also kind of whatever is sparking in us still from this conversation. So you can get access to the show after the show for the low price of $5.
$5
a
hairs.
month, $1 hairs a month. You can join
That's
our
less
Patreon.
than a cup of coffee, Jackson.
It is less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Well, some cups of coffee. And you can find us.
Are you saying it costs less at some coffee places?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. But anyway, here nor there. You can find us over on patreon.com/Wayfolk Arts, as this is a Wayfolk Arts podcast. And I think that's about it.
We love you.
Bye.